audience today.
So we do.
So you doing all right?
So far, so good.
All right.
You over jet lag?
We got the next hour and a half or so to turn that around.
Good Lord. All right, yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you for the coffee.
Sorry?
I said thank you for the coffee.
Of course.
Of course.
Not a problem.
Are you good at your computer?
Yes, this is a new computer. I got this, I don't know, last month maybe sometime.
Mhm.
The old one was starting to see its, starting to get a little bit long in the tooth.
You get another apple?
I've never had an Apple. No, this is, I got another Yoga.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought the other one was out.
I've never had an Apple. I prefer real machines to pieces of fruit. Although I will say that I've had an iPhone now for some time.
Speaking of phones.
How's it going?
Good, you?
Not too bad, not too bad. We're just waiting for Rachel, our official note taker.
Exactly, she's trying to play multitasker today.
Not a problem at all. Has everybody had their fill of coffee and or donuts? There's more here, and they're only gonna go upstairs to more county staff if you folks don't eat them. Deservedly so, might add. Anybody have any good jokes to tell?
Did you hear the tale about the frog?
The thing about the what?
Tale about the frog.
The tale about the fog. I didn't-
Frog, F-R-O-G.
Did not.
You didn't have one.
Nice.
Short,
Nice.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm slow today, I'm sorry.
That jet lag will get you every time.
I don't have jet lag.
No?
I guess you wouldn't, would you?
Well, you know, coming back from Europe, it's really not ever that bad. It's going over that's tough.
yeah.
Coming back,
Not all
you
night
have
long.
just a really, really long day. You know, you get up, body clock time in Europe, you get on the airplane, and 10, 12, 16 hours later, you're in the States. And we had a 5-hour drive up from Miami because we'd flown in and out of Miami.
Oh, okay.
So by the time we got to my parents' house, where we spent the night, it was 11 o'clock at night. Here, which is 4 in the morning Barcelona time, so that was kind of a long day.
Yeah.
But outside of that, no big deal at all.
So I just had to go grab a sign-in sheet.
Ready to hang on our every word?
Yes, I am. Yes. Although I can't see over these things, I'm too short.
Oh, no.
I gotta move down one.
Well, thank you, everybody, for your patience. I hereby call the November meeting of the Citrus County Aviation Advisory Board into session. May I invite everybody, please, to stand and help us recite our national anthem, or the other thing, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And of course, this being November, a special thanks go out to all our veterans. Those, obviously, those folks that are still serving, as well as those of you that did serve sometime in the past. Thank you so much for your service. We would not be here without you. Are you ready for the roll call?
I am ready.
All right. Who do we have here today, Rachel?
My name's Rachel Harrell,
Okay.
and I'm gonna be your recording secretary for the time being. Okay, so we'll start the roll with Carl Douglas Flanagan,
Present.
George McDonald,
Present?
Heiko Kallenbach,
Present.
Charles Carr,
Here?
and Mark
It's me.
Klingel. Mark Klingel. You know what, I couldn't see that angle. I'm sorry, Mark. Mark Klingel.
Right, Mark.
That's right, that's right. Thank you very much. So Gene Davis is absent. Did he let you know that he would not be here? Do you know?
I did not, although there is the possibility that he would have emailed Caitlin, and I haven't have access to her email, so that's very possible.
Gotcha. Okay, no worries, no worries. Of course, last month's meeting was canceled due to certain weather events that made traveling here somewhat untoward. So we have the minutes from September to approve. Members of the board, have you had a chance to review the minutes from 2 months ago?
I'd make a motion to accept.
Motion by Carl, second by Charlie. Any Mark, I'm sorry, discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last 2 months ago, minutes are approved. Good morning. Go after your donut. Coffee? All right. Hey, it's here. Before we go any further, I'd like to throw the meeting open to the public. Does anybody from the public have something they would like to bring to the board? Going once? Going twice? Okay.
Can I just remind everybody to sign the sign-in sheet since it was late and everybody was in by the time I
That
got
would be
in?
great. Folks, if you would not mind, at some point today before you leave, go ahead and sign in the attendance sheet to let Rachel and the county know who all was here today. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
As far as new business goes, we've, based on the recommendations that Dr. Byers made some time ago, earlier this year, we've been hot and heavy, moving forward with some of the projects. One of them was a project putting together a set of minimum standards, rules, and regulations for the 2 airports that we have. This began mid-October, about a month ago, with infrastructure and what?
Consulting and engineering.
Infrastructure Consulting and Engineering, otherwise known as ICE. Interviewing the 2 FBOs, as well as the local chapter of the Experimental Aircraft Association, to start in the process of looking at the unique needs and wants of our respective airports, to come up with a set of minimum standards that will work toward what we all expect from any airport, as well as be tailored to the specifics of that airport. Daniel Elsey from ICE is here. Dan, can you give us a little bit of where we are so far?
Yes, sir. Daniel Ossie with Infrastructure Consulting Engineering. Good afternoon, gentlemen. So you covered a lot of it. So we did start about a month ago. Our planning group led, at least the one for this project, Alex Vacha. He's the one leading the rules and regulations, minimum standards. He was previous airport director at Winter Haven and Lake Wells Airport. So hands-on experience there, and he just like a lot of us have gone through those rules and regulations, this process before. And so he kicked it off with making sure that he got in front of the FBOs and got their sense, because at the end of the day, both of these guiding documents, which will be developed for each airport. So it won't be an umbrella rules and regulations. That each airport is unique, and it should be acknowledged that the rules would be applied there. You do want some consistency and equity across, and that's really what minimum standards does as well, is making sure that the business partners that you have here at the county, you take care of them, and you don't allow other entries to come in that may cannibalize or take away that service if it's unfair or if they can't meet the same minimum standards. And so what the schedule looks like is Alex was going to be here today, but in coordination with the county, he's going to come to you guys in December and give a walkthrough, which we may cover most of that today. But and so the goal is in December to come and talk to you, and then to deliver draft documents to the county in January. And then following that, there will be a legal review from the county's aviation attorney or the county attorney. And then ultimately in February, deliver the presentation and draft documents to the AAB for review. There will be a public comment period, roughly 3 weeks to a month. And public, the goal is to get feedback from major tenants, which would be covered, from the Sheriff's Department, Air Methods, to EAA, to the FBOs, try not to leave anyone out. And same thing in Crystal River. And so once you get those comments, we'll incorporate them, evaluate them, similar to how we did with the business study. Which ones should be added, get some feedback from you guys and the county staff. And then following that, those recommendations will be compiled in, a final draft document will be developed, and that will go off to the FAA for review. They have standards, templates that are a go-by, and there's certain things that, are not really allowed, and so to make sure that it passes muster and aligns with your grant assurances. And then following that, if FAA, FDOT don't have any comments, if they do, we'll incorporate those in and it'll be presented to you guys for adoption and then ultimately approval at the BOCC. And then following that, I know, as you said, a lot of things are moving from the business study, from new leases, rules and regulations, minimum standards, so a comprehensive view, and we, glad to be a part of it. We were at the BOCC meeting last week with the airport updates, and glad to see the counties moving forward.
Good deal.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Elsey?
Yeah, a couple. I presume your scope of work probably involves developing minimum operating standards, and standard operating regulations that applies to the FBOs, to the tenants, both major and not so major, and then the allowable uses of the airfield. Occasionally, we get some oddball requests to have, races and things like that on the runway. I was wondering if you could have you actually started drafting any of this? And was wondering if perhaps you might give us a thumbnail sketch of how the document you're putting together is organized and what sort of content we can expect.
Yeah, I would say we could go over it in a higher level of the intent of it, but as far as the chapters, the sections, I guess.
The
we'll
higher
prepare
level
for-
would be
Yeah,
good,
so
yeah.
the FAA has their guidance where, just like a master plan, there's certain things that, from evaluation of your existing facilities, what the need is, the operating environment, and from, flying clubs to accessing the airfield to security, operating vehicles on the apron, walking on the apron, whether right now there's a, key code to get in but really, it's kind of unfettered. So just looking at all operations, how hangars are kept, the cleanliness, the things that are kept in the hangars, registration of aircraft, pilot's license, so the things that you would look at to make sure there's a consistent, levying of those rules. And so one person can't skate by and get away, so. But as far as an extensive list, I could get you that, is what our guys are going by. Our scope is, it's really up to you guys. And again, there's the parameters of what the FAA and FDOT like to see, but it is subjective, up to a bounds. So.
So my understanding is you'll have a more comprehensive brief for us in December, at which point we'll have the opportunity to provide some input?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I again, the guy that's leading it is Alex, and, been working with you guys over the past year plus. I want to keep you involved and get you the information. Working in public government, you want to, as I say, grease the skids, make sure you're knowledgeable and you're educated on it, and so you can make, educated decisions and providing that guidance. And so we'll give you those parameters as well as the draft documents.
Okay, do you foresee that the draft would have minimum standards for the FBOs for them to do certain things, have certain things, or have certain people that they don't already have at present on site?
I would expect that to come out of the update of the minimum standards. Currently, you have some. Again, like with the lease document, there's a lot of ambiguity, and it works in your favor sometimes, right? It gives the county flexibility, but to make sure that everybody understands that language has to be cleared up. And so there likely will be, it's not something that would necessarily affect their ability to operate or make it void to where, well, you don't pass this level, so sorry. That's not gonna be the case. It's just gonna make it equitable for them too.
Okay.
I hear where you're coming from, sort of the concept that Wright Rudder and Crystal Air Group will all of a sudden have to hire these three people in order to meet a certain minimum standard or install certain equipment or whatever it is. I think that's sort of where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Unfunded mandate sort of thing.
Sure.
And we just need to make sure that what's the best way to put this? That what we come up with is appropriate.
Yep. And granted, again, it's the county's document, so you're not gonna write something that's so restrictive where on, day one it gets implemented and there's these, right, unfunded mandates and you've got this time frame, like either you abide or you're out. I think it's important to work with your tenants. Again, with the business study, that was one of the intent, was to figure out how to keep business growing, keep the businesses that you have. And so not creating something that, it's bird in the hand. No need to try to put something in place that makes it for them unable to operate, because then the next operator has to meet those things too. And so there has to be a time frame of getting those, working with James, working with Andy, and getting a schedule together that would work for them.
Good.
And again, that's why it's important to talk with them to figure out even if it's feasible. You don't want to do boilerplate benchmark of a metro area that may not apply here. Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Elsie, within the confines of our meeting timeframe, as Heiko mentioned, it's gonna be in December. How much time are you anticipating that you will need of us to be able to go over this?
Well, if we have the opportunity, I think December will be similar to this, but a little bit more meat, and probably some handouts. And then come January, where the document is in draft form, the expectation would be that you get it obviously prior, with enough time to review and opine on if there's something that doesn't work. And I think it's critical. I think we saw that with the business study. Ideally, we'd like to stay on schedule and meet it, but we don't want to push something out the door that's not right. And so getting your feedback, I think, is critical, whether that's in written form or, openly discussing in the meeting as we collect, your opinions and guidance.
And I think to my colleague's point, the further in advance of one of our meetings so we can get these documents for review, I think the more we'll be able to provide meaningful input.
Noted. Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Were you involved with the hangar lease development?
A little bit, yeah. Early on, as part of the business study, we developed a draft lease. And then Chris Wilson, the aviation attorney for the county, came on board, and he worked with Ms. Lynn to get it altered to more of the language that he was comfortable with, which is fine. And so I think I know 2 leases, or 1 was approved last week, and they're still working on the ground lease,
Okay.
I believe, yep.
Has everybody had a chance to read the lease application template that's there now? It was attached to the agenda. So it seems very comprehensive and very specific in a lot of cases. Of note, our recommendation to base annual increases on the CPI was not taken was not put into effect. Rather, it'll be a straight 3.5% increase each year.
Yeah.
So, no, it is what it is. Somebody else decided that was a good idea. Any questions for Mr. Elsie on that particular topic?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the new county fire station at Inverness, I understand, and basically, Todd cannot be here today. He's out of town and doing some work, some training. So really what we're doing, as much as anything else, is reading what would have otherwise been his report into the record. So any questions you have, let's bring them up.
Just one.
Yes.
I would like to make sure that we put in there the recommendation, they have a firefighter who has gone through aviation firefighting school. So we
So-
have somebody that is qualified.
Absolutely.
So noted. Rachel, would you mind making sure that you put that into the minutes?
Yes. I was just typing it down.
So basically, the pre-design of the new fire station has begun. Site location is on the north side, close to gate Victor Golf 5. Still looking for a budget, still coming up with a budget for construction, and that's basically where they are. Not too far into the overall project. As far as old business goes, we talked several months ago about Luis Michaels having vacated his position. The board has seen fit to move me from being a member at large to representing District 3. The main reason for that, I think, is so that it's an at-large position that's open, which means that we can fill it from anybody in the county, regardless of which district they happen to live in. So that being said, we have 3 positions coming for reappointment, expiring at the end of January of 2025. That is District 2, which I believe is Mark, District 3, which is me, and the at-large position, which is empty. New terms, of course, 2 years long. We have until the end of the month, end of this month.
I've already submitted.
You have, okay, good. I need to get on the stick with that. And if anybody knows of anybody that would be qualified in the public, as well as on the board, that's interested in serving on the board, please do submit an application. There is on the Citrus County website, there's a place you go to advisory boards and apply for a position. And there's the application in there. You're encouraged to put in a resume, and applications received through the end of this month. And then sometime in December, the powers that be on the BOCC will make a determination as to whether or not Mark and I continue. And assuming so, then who fills the at-large position and or who replaces us if it's time for us to retire. Any questions on any of that?
None.
Power lines on Penn Street, the marker balls are in hand. Contact has been made with Duke, finally, and we're simply waiting for a schedule for the labor to occur. This would be a good thing. This is one of those things that we came up with. It was a need, and the county was responsive to it, and I thank them for doing that. The runway 9 GPS approach, which has been now active since March, only to LNAV minimums, that is to say 420 feet. They are still conducting the AGIS that would enable LP minimums, which would take us down to 380 feet, not a big difference, but a little bit. That is expected to be complete sometime next year. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. But the good news is we now have 2 GPS approaches in Crystal River, which means that when the 2.7 GPS approach goes down because of runway construction, we'll still have an instrument approach into the airport. It's a beautiful thing. Questions? As far as hangars go, in Inverness, out of the 16 T hangars, we have 3 vacancies and 32 waiting. I expect those vacancies will be filled forthwith. Crystal River has 20 T hangars with 1 vacancy and 32 on the wait list, and 2 box hangars, both of which are currently full. Board of County Commissions has nothing for us except what we've already talked about. Major projects, the runway 27 extension at Crystal River, work authorization has been submitted and is scheduled to go in front of the BOCC November 19th. That is to say next week. Crystal River fuel tank replacements, they're still waiting for somebody to bid on the work. And they're waiting on a re-invitation to bid from the OMB. Hopefully that will come soon, and then we'll be able to have somebody that is interested in that work. That the AGIS survey, that is ongoing. Obviously, there's 2 parts to it. One is to recertify the LP minimums for runway 9. That's ongoing. The other part of it is waiting for an FDOT grant, and that is the part that is going to then recertify the runway 27 GPS approach once that construction is done. Inverness Business Park, Phase 1 is complete. Waiting for Swift Mud to look at the drainage retention area and let us know what needs to be done to make it operational, which will allow more tenants to build. Phase 2 is ongoing, waiting for the consultant's revised repackaged fee. Several meetings have been had. They're still working on nailing down the final price for services. Inverness corporate hangar, as of October 25th, 30% design. Meeting was held, and the thought there is to leave the design at 30%. In other words, just a shell, and which would allow whoever winds up renting that to then customize it to their specific needs. That's not yet been finalized, that approach, but that's the one that's currently under consideration, unless you know otherwise.
I can give you a little update. Good afternoon, Carlton Hall, Interim Public Works Director. So I work with Todd, and some of the recent things we've thought about is we're at the point now, if they had a tenant, that it would be the perfect time for them to give us input on what they would like the inside of that hangar to look like. So we've kind of put things on pause just a little bit. The ground lease and the corporate hangar lease documents, we're expecting those back from the aviation attorney very soon. And as soon as we get those, we're gonna put that packet together, and then the board can decide if they wanna try to court someone for taking possession of that as a long-term lease. So hopefully we find someone soon. If not, we'll just move forward with it being kind of a unfinished space on the interior until we can get a determination on what their needs are.
Good deal. Any questions? Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for coming. The Inverness Master Plan is still waiting for the FDOT grant so that a budget resolution can be submitted, followed by a work order. The same for the Inverness AWAS replacement. Minor projects, the Crystal River Vault and Generators, waiting for a mobilization schedule. Todd expects that to come soon. Not sure what soon is, but soon, which is better than a long time from now, I suppose.
Or never.
Or never, yeah. So we have a new tower application submitted by the city of Inverness. There are an extensive number of attachments to this meeting agenda, talking about the location, and it does in fact appear to be something that should not, operative word being should, pose any sort of a hazard, anything untoward to Inverness traffic. Anybody has a sectional, it is basically northeast of the airport, right around here. And of course, the traffic pattern is on the east side of the airport to avoid all of the community that is to the west of the airport. So and it only goes up to 200 feet MSL, less than 200 feet MSL, the tower. So unless somebody's just really, really scud running, there won't be any sort of an issue at all. Everybody had a chance to look at that and sort of come up with an opinion one way or another. It's kind of hard to see the sectional
Right.
diagram in the printout, but if you go to an actual sectional, it's easier to put in the lat longs and see exactly where that is. But basically, if you look at the little yellow community Inverness part, it's to on the left-hand border there, near the top. So really, really out of the way of Inverness traffic,
Yeah,
right
should
around
be
here.
all right. Yeah.
Questions on that? Comments? Airport security. Our airports are secure, I'm happy to say, as far as we know. Board communication, the main thing to communicate to the board right now for us is those of us that wish to be reappointed, between Mark and myself, and anybody that has interest in applying for the at-large position. We meet once a month, we talk about this stuff, and that's pretty much what the responsibility is. Any other questions or comments before we throw the meeting back open to the public? Folks, are there any questions on anything we talked about today? Any comments you'd like to make?
Hi, Barry Simons, President EA Chapter 1674. Question I have is for the draft, is there a way you're going to make that available to our chapter so we can kind of just pass it out and look at it? Okay. Alex gave us his card when we met with him. Should we just contact through him then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there will be, the tenants, you get an opportunity to review it, the AAB, but there's gonna be a public,
Yeah.
I'll pass it on. I mean, in
Okay,
fact,
yeah, I just wanted to
met
know,
with you guys,
because we have a
I'll see-
meeting this Saturday, and I just want to know what to basically bring up and let everybody know. Get them prepared.
Would you mind real quick, just read your message, your question into the mic so that Rachel can hear it
Oh,
and jot
sure,
it
yeah.
down?
The question was that make sure that we have a opportunity to review the draft documents before they become finalized.
And that Daniel said there would be such an opportunity.
Yeah, and that's for our EA chapter. The other quick question I just had is, I'm not seeing the attachment in here for the new leases. I don't know if it got omitted from here, or if that's not,
Yeah, we didn't put it, it was like.
oh, it was very long.
30.
Yeah, okay. no
Yeah,
problem.
it was about 30
Is that
pages
something
long.
that's available on the website, or is it
I
only,
don't think so.
no, okay,
I don't know the answer to that, I'm sorry.
okay.
It certainly is available to somebody that wants to lease a
Yeah.
hangar.
Well, I already got a lease.
So it's got to be there somewhere.
Yeah, I was just curious to see how it's changing. Okay, thank you.
Hang on one second.
So that lease is part of the last BOCC meeting. So in that agenda item, when you go
Okay.
onto the website for the clerk's office, you'll be able to pull up that agenda, and that lease document is attached there.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, snide remarks? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Our next meeting will be 1 month from today, Thursday, December 12th at 2 p.m., right here in this room. James?
Sorry, I thought that the question was related to the previous item, but I do have one.
I'm sorry, sir, but the portion of the meeting. Go
I
ahead.
apologize, I misunderstood. James Chen from Crystal Aero Group from Crystal River Airport. I have a small item, not a small item, but to report to the board. Over the 47 years history of the Crystal Aero Group in business, and it's 8 years since I'm involved, the company have never had any litigation and or the lawsuit or anything in that nature. Over this weekend, I received a potential litigation for the company. There's a gentleman named James Taylor Cassidy, and he at the May of this year purchased a piece of property on the northeast corner of Seven River golf course. It's a little further away from our traffic pattern. It's a piece of land, not a house there, but it's just a vacant land. And they sent a notice that we are trespassing the traffic pattern on their property. It was shocking, and if this case would be proceeded, it will have the effect on the entire airport. So I reported this issue to Todd, and I know he was on the training, and I would like to have a board to aware of this. It's nonsense, really. Somebody just come and say you can't fly over my space and wanted the money.
So
So-
is Crystal Aero Group the named party in the?
Crystal Aero Group, all the aircraft owners, and include all the aircraft I own as a person or as other entity, is all received a notice on that. I know this item happens to that Jensen Airport previously. I received a phone call alert from the other airport, say, be careful, there was somebody on the pattern on the other airport, but this is happening to our home base right now.
So, do you think this is in response to somebody flying excessively low in the pattern?
No, it doesn't say that. It lists all our aircraft. It listed anything as a company related to the state registration, and or the aircraft. I have probably about 10 aircraft, but some of them registered with one entity, some which is on a different entity. It's all been called out. I received this certified mail, and I didn't initially take that very seriously, but looking through that, I said this is really an attack to the general aviation as a whole, as a community. So I like the board aware of that, and I certainly know that the county knows about it. Other than that, the airport is its operation as normal, and we continue our operation. Thank you.
James, did he send letters to all the other people that use the airport?
I'm not aware of that, but it was a mail delivered to us, and I do not know other people received the same notification as well.
Okay, but may I inquire, you weren't actually served, you just received the equivalent of a demand letter that says?
We have been served.
And
Yeah.
then, may I inquire, what were they asking? Did they say, quit flying over my house, or?
They quoted a certain dollar amount.
Oh.
No surprise. They quoted a certain dollar amount. It's a cease and desist notification, and then they specify some future dollar amount if we continue to operate. So it's a shocking to this community, and when I received it.
And I assume the county legal department has been made aware of this?
Not that we're aware of yet. I mean, Todd may have sent something out while he's been in training, but I haven't been aware of it, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just received that over the weekend. Monday was the Veterans Day, so I sent it to Todd by Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm sure it's going to be.
Yeah. Obviously, to the extent that aircraft at the airport are abiding with the normal regulations that the FAA has set, the FAA has declared this airspace to be viable and acceptable for normal use aircraft. I'm not sure what somebody on the ground would really have to complain about, other than the fact that they don't like it. I don't like cars driving down my road, but they're allowed to, so what can I do about it?
I don't take it as a complaint. It sounds like he wants money for people to fly over his property, so. I mean, he's not saying you can't fly over his
No,
property.
he said cease and desist.
Yeah, or pay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry about the bad news.
Well, yeah, no, sorry that that's happening. Hopefully that's not a harbinger of more things to come. Like the gentleman that didn't like the loud buzzing electric airplanes in Inverness, that sort of thing. We'll do everything we can to support you in this and make sure that the county does everything that they can, spends every resource. Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, if you folks are so inclined, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Charlie?
Second.
George?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.